Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio is brought to you by anglerschoice.ca, the Angler's Choice in handmade soft plastics. Also presented to you by Handlebars Musky Lures, Zing the Bling, Frantic Big Game Baits, Keith's Trophy Fishing, Fish NV Guide Service, and Husky Musky Leaders. You're listening to Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio. Hey folks, welcome to another exciting edition of Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio. Welcome back to our listeners. On the line I have President of the Bowmanville Creek Anglers Association and the founder of the second annual Bowman Creek Tackle Swap, Peter Seto. Peter, welcome to the show and thanks for being our guest today.
Thanks, Ben. Great to be on your show. I listen to it all the time and really enjoy it.
Well, I try.
Yeah, you do a great job, I think, and that's all you can do. I love what you do. Get the word out there about fishing, and obviously support the Canadian market, which is huge too. So.
Oh, and that's exactly what you're doing with the upcoming tackle swap. Tell us about it.
Yes, this is our second annual Bowmanville Tackle Swap and Fishing Show. Last year was the first year. How it came about was the bass club I used to belong to. We used to have a tackle swap, and unfortunately we lost the location we had it. They turned it into office buildings at this particular hockey arena. So we lost our space to have that. So I'm also on the tourism board for the municipality of Clarington to help promote fishing. So I said, well, let me talk to the town and see if I can get the Garnet Beaver Arena Hall and run a tackle swap. But when I said, well, let's do something more. I got to do something for tourism because they're helping us out for the town, and I want to do something for the local people because maybe these people never get down to the Toronto show or aren't the hardcore fishermen or fisher ladies. Also want to do something for kids, which is important, and something for charities. So I said, why don't we make a tackle swap and fishing show? So I talked to a few people, including Big Jim, who said he would support the show. That was huge to have him there last year. And we got some great vendors out, such as Fish Bum and Streamside last year. Had a casting area for kids and draw prizes. So it was beyond my expectations. We had probably about 1,500 people there for a small show advertised in 6 weeks. So a lot of people said they wanted to make it an annual thing. So we have our second annual one coming up Sunday, February 2nd, Super Bowl day in Bowmanville. It's on Facebook. It's on the various bass forums and that. So it's from 10 to 4. It's family friendly. We have lots of stuff going on for kids, casting area. There's going to be popcorn given out by Everstart Batteries and lots of draw prizes. Every child under 13 and under will get a fishing product.
Awesome. Awesome. That is fantastic. And when we were talking prior to coming on air, you had said that it's $3 or a non-perishable food item.
Correct, and that will be going towards the Salvation Army. So, very low cost, parking's free, so it's a great, we're not there, I wanted to bring an event that brings people all together and maybe someone who can never go to a show and make it a fun show. And the tackle swap is also huge. That brings a lot of the hardcore guys out, such as yourself. I know is coming, and I believe, I don't know if we can make this an announcement now, but you offered to MC the event for us, was it?
Yeah, well, I had my hand at it a couple times, and it was fun, and we had talked, and I said, did you have an MC or somebody to do announcements? And you said no, and I said, well, I could fill that position for you, so it's great that I'll be doing that with you and getting a feel for what this tackle swap is all about. So I'm really excited to come down, and thanks once again. So.
Oh no, thank you. I'm so busy running around all day trying to organize things and make sure everything's okay. So actually, it's going to add a great thing to the show because we do have some events going on. We have something called Shimano Fishing University this year. So I'm going to need someone such as you with a great voice to announce what's going on. So that's great to have you aboard and, to let people know what's going on where they can go to see this and see that. That's going to be a huge addition to the show.
Yeah, and when this podcast airs, there will be a link on the radio page as well as Ben McQuinney Outdoors page. And, Peter, I got to tell you, the gang down at the BCAA, bang-up job. You guys really pulled together this year during a crisis. And why not come out and support your show? Look at what you've done for the community in years past and what you continue to do. But I want to kind of backtrack to this year with the ladder. What happened?
Well, actually, this is a 2-year process, Ben. This is the second year we had to help the trout and salmon over the Goodyear Dam on Boneville. If people aren't familiar with the Boneville Creek watershed, there is a man-made dam by the Goodyear plant that's been there for years, since I've been there. And there's a group called Valleys to want to raise money to come up with a better way for the salmon, especially because they're big. The ladder that was built there back in the early 80s was built for rainbow trout. At the time, we didn't have any salmon in our watershed back then. So when these big salmon started coming up, because they're naturally reproducing now, it's hard for them to use the existing ladder. They're too big.
Yeah.
There's a turn in the ladder and just not enough room for them to jump. So a group down called Valleys in our area has done a lot for the valleys down in they planted trees. They got a walkway down there. It's completely paved for people to walk their dogs and roller skate or inline skate or ride their bike. So they did a lot to raise over $500,000 for a new bypass channel to help these big fish. There were some delays, unfortunately, the first year. We were brought in because we thought the first year, 2012, we were brought in. M&R asked our... we didn't have a club at the time, actually. It was just... we got approached by M&R to help out, and we gathered some volunteers and some old friends and fishermen to help lift these salmon because M&R said the bypass channel would be built, so it would be closed. So plus the other problem, Ben, 2 years ago, if you remember, August was very warm, and for some reason there was only 1,000 fish up there by, let's say, the second week of August. So they were really stressed. So that was the other need. They had to be moved quickly, or they would die right at the spot there and not get up to the upper streams to spawn. So we had no resources. M&R gave us a permit. You had to do it this way. So how we did it was all physical. We had to net the fish. And you know what it's like to net the fish that's been tired out. You can imagine netting a 20, 30-pound salmon that has been tired out by a hook, line, sinker.
Oh, yeah, they're hot. They're hot fish.
We had some issues. We were on with big walleye nets, and it just didn't work. They were too fast, too big. They wrecked the nets. So how it was, we had to net the fish, and this is a system that Dave Lawson, who was the founder of the Boneville Creek Anglers back in the early 80s, we had to lift the rainbow trout back in the early 80s because there was a mill pond on Boneville Creek. So they couldn't get above there, and M&R gave us permission to lift about 1,000 fish. That dam has blown out since then. So that we had a system in place already that worked, so we went with the same system. We didn't know how these fish are about 3 times bigger, 20 to 30 pound salmon versus, on average, that are 8 to 10 pounds. Mm-hmm. So we had to net them. We had a cable system from the bottom to the top with a pulley, and we would put them in nylon sack bags, and someone up top would handball them up. So it was very physical and wet work.
Yeah. Well, I seen the pictures, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, these guys. George Pern was out there, too. Matt Rimmer from Fish Bum. Jonathan Mellish, you guys just pulled together, and it was just fantastic. And I don't know, I just it's on you guys. If you want my vote, get back to me. One of you parties out there that's conscious of the outdoors. It's our privilege to be able to enjoy these things, but it shouldn't cost us out of our own pocket to make sure that the recreation is there. So,
and what was frustrating, I know M&R is kind of cash-strapped. They couldn't supply us with any nets or any funding.
Yeah.
So thank God that Lucky Strike, a big fishing company right here out of Peterborough, stepped up and donated me nets the first year and this year. Kim Rhodes was just huge. He said, anything you need, Peter, come up and see me. So they donated their huge salmon nets. Now, they still got damaged. When you're netting 10,000 fish, they're going to get damaged. So the teeth on them cut through the mesh, but that's all we had to work with, and they worked fine. But without, they're about $100 net each, and we probably went through about 25 of them each year.
A couple of them are going to be at the tackle swap?
Is Lucky Strike are going to be at the tax swap?
Yeah.
No, they're not right. He did donate some prizes last year, but I think they're going to the bigger shows.
Okay.
Everyone's going to mark.
But hey, you know what? That's
so,
that.
They won't be there, but they will be recognized
Yeah.
in their booth.
And
again,
and that's Canadians working with Canadians, right?
So there's pictures of their nets, of us netting the fish and all that too. So.
Yeah. Well, Peter, I'm really excited about this, and folks, if you live in the Bowmanville Creek area, how do they get a hold of you, Pete?
We do have a website, our blog. It's Bowmanville Creek Anglers at Weeby.
So,
Creek
yep.
Anglers dot WEEBLY
WEEBLY. Weebly.
Yes, Weebly.
It's very weebly.
Yeah.
It's very weebly on the boat.
If you want to just
Excuse me.
join the Bowman Creek Anglers page, I will accept you on there, and you can get information on there. If you're interested in joining the club, we're helping out with summer events. We have about 100 members now in the club.
Mm-hmm.
We have monthly meetings. Our next meeting is actually next Tuesday. So if anyone wants to come out and join the club, it's a great club. We do obviously do conservation projects, but we're also a teaching club. And we bring out guest speakers from the industry. We have, obviously some great anglers in the club, but we also bring some anglers from outside the club to show people how to stream fish, lake fish. But we also have an ice fishing derby, or ice fishing day planned for the 25th on Bay Quinte for walleye. So we don't just do river stuff. If someone wants to go bass fishing or want to go crappie fishing, in this case we're going ice fishing for walleye on Bay Quinte. We have a couple of guides in our club.
Yep.
So.
Well, it says Anglers Association. It doesn't say steelheaders or muskies. No. So that's good. I like that, the Anglers Association tag on that, because it allows guys that may be interested in wetting a line in a river for the first time to come out and learn.
Yeah, we have a lot of new people, some women in the club. We have a lot of people who've never steelhead before. A lot of it came from the volunteers. A lot of the volunteers we had down, Ben, were actually not fishermen.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted to help the cause, and that was great. And, you and I down there were probably like a kid in a candy store how I relate to it. You don't legally get a chance to net 20, 30-pound salmon legally and hang on to them.
Yeah.
And cohos were just amazing this year, and browns, and we actually got 3 Atlantics. So, you and I would be just ear to ear with a smile, but these people were the same, and they're not fishermen, and it's just great to see the passion they had.
Yep.
And it was just a once-in-a-lifetime thing that I'm glad I got to do it twice, because, not too many people get to do that.
Nope.
And it was fun, but it was definitely hard work. Now, in the fall it's quite cold, especially water temperatures in the river. It was just amazing. We had people going in there with T-shirts and jeans on.
T-shirts and jeans? Are you kidding me?
I couldn't believe it.
It's bizarre.
I thought I'm pretty good steelhead on the river. I fish in the, and I'm pretty good in the cold, but I still need my waders on if I was in there. We had quite a few people. A lot of them were girls, believe it or not. And one girl in particular, Emily Noel, would be in their net and fish every day in a T-shirt and her jeans and running shoes.
That's awesome. So you got a great group of people, folks. The Bowman Creek Anglers Association. My guest, Peter Seto. Hit him up on Facebook. I'll be posting links throughout my social network, Twitter, BM_outdoors, Twitter, and then so when's the date? When are we hanging out, Peter?
It's February 2nd. It's Super Bowl day.
Super Bowl day.
We ran the same date. I was a little worried last year that the Super Bowl fans wouldn't come out, but I believe the Super Bowl starts at 6 again this year. The show runs till 4, so
just enough time.
I'll be there at 6 in the morning helping people set up. So the show runs from 10 to 4, February 2nd at the Garnet B. Rickard Complex in Bowmanville.
And doors open at what time?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. All right.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention if you have family members, bring them out, especially if they're 13 and under. we are giving, again, as we did last year, a free fishing product to any youth under 13.
Oh boy. Well, my son will be loving that.
Yeah. Pops out to Dave Chong again. He stepped up again with Volk. They're donating
Wonderful.
The Flasher minnow bait.
Yep.
And a gentleman I work for, River Master Floats, has donated some floats too. So
that's awesome. I'm glad to kick off 2014's show season with you, Peter, and I look forward to it. You have a great day.
You too. Thanks for having me on. We'll see you on the second then. Appreciate it.
Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio is brought to you by AnglersChoice.ca, the Angler's Choice in handmade soft plastics. Also presented to you by Handlebars Musky Lures, Zing the Bling, Frantic Big Game Baits, Keith's Trophy Fishing, Fish NV Guide Service, and Husky Musky Leaders. You're listening to Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio.
I am Rob, and you're on the water with Assassins. During the ice season, getting a good photo and respecting the fish above the water runs a fine line. What we practice to ensure that all fish are exposed to the elements for the minimal amount of time is what we call the big bar fire drill. It's important to assign each angler on the ice with a job once a big bar is announced. One person on the camera, one person on the GoPro, and everyone running towards the action. This is something that is practiced way more than is executed, but once a big fish is landed, having everyone involved will ensure the fish is only above the water for a slight second. By discussing this beforehand, everyone knows their role, and only good things can happen. Land the fish, capture it on video, a quick snapshot, and an even quicker release. CPR at its best in the harshest of conditions. Capture success with respect and allow your highlights to grow even bigger. Until next time on the water with Assassins, right here on Ben McQuinney Outdoors, tight lines.
Alright folks, welcome back to Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio here on the Reno Viola Outdoor Radio Network. On the line I have a good friend and special guest, formerly of the Hunting Chronicles, now host and producer of No Limits TV, Chris David. Chris, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ben. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, and it's show season once again. Here we are. It's probably next to hunting and fishing season. This is our busiest time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll be making personal appearances at 5 different outdoor industry shows, and including a couple appearances at Cabela's here in Alberta.
That's fantastic. Recently, you made headlines for a giant Canadian bull elk. You want to tell our listeners about that? How big it was, and just some of the credentials that come along with taking such a prized trophy.
Okay, first, the long long and short of it all is that this bull elk was the largest bull elk ever shot in Canada, free range, by a Canadian hunting show, and scores just short of 400 inches. And it makes the record book officially after net score of 381 inches. You need 375 to make the Boone and Crockett book. So it's a lifetime achievement. The odds on shooting an elk of that caliber is extremely, extremely rare here in Canada. In the States, it's a little bit more available because of the numbers. But here in Canada, our population is, probably a 16th of that of what they have in the U.S. So it's a heck of an accomplishment.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. And just tell us what that's like when it comes time to take that photo op. Where's your mind frame? Because we see a lot in the headlines about people taking trophy photos and stuff like that. What's your views on that? Because I want to touch on something else after you answer that one. So tell us about the whole trophy photo after an experience like that.
Well, ideally, you want to show respect to the animal, so you don't want to be sitting on it or anything like that. You want to make sure there's no blood showing, especially for people that are, that don't like seeing blood, that may not be hunters. So what you want to do is you want to take a clean picture, a presentable pose, something that's not showing disrespect to the animal. Mm-hmm. And like I said, like sitting on it, it's not appropriate. Guys do it and stuff, and but it's just not something that I would recommend. I just think it's disrespectful. The animal was good enough to give himself, and that's the way we need to show our respect back.
So, are you getting a head mount or a rack mount? How are you going to be reliving this animal's other than putting meat in the freezer?
Well, first and foremost, again, when we film, when we hunt, our main goal is to put food on the table. If we're lucky enough to harvest a trophy at the same time, then obviously we're going to take that opportunity. But what I'm doing here is I'm actually getting quickly becoming a well-known artist with Fish Bum and Bush Bum, Nick LaFerriere, to do a rendition just for me. But on top of that, I'm getting a beautiful pedestal mount from my taxidermist out here in Alberta.
Oh, fantastic. So there are ways of keeping the memory of an animal alive and celebrating its life. Having it turned into art is one way. How do you feel about Gander Mountain's taking down the mounts?
Thoughts on it
are,
I don't understand why, because to me, getting the animal, mounted, to some respect, shows respect, actually. It's paying respect to that animal, to the memory of that animal, and allowing him to kind of, to some applications, live on, I guess you could say. There's a story behind it, and usually a pretty darn good one that's meaningful, and in some cases defines a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think it all depends on how you look at it. But from my standpoint, I guess a personal preference, I prefer to mount them and put them up on the wall. And when I have friends and people come over and ask me questions about them, I get to relive that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many neat stories. And, there's a local store here in town, High Caliber Sports, that has a plethora of mounts all over the place, anywhere from white-tailed deer to wolverines. And there's people that come from all over just to look at these mounts, because to some respect, it's the only time they'll ever get to see these animals.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're readily available in the outdoors, some of these people just don't have the opportunities the time to put into seeing those animals on a regular basis. And here's a great opportunity to come to a store, not even to purchase anything, but just to come and look at these beautiful mounts.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think that there's nothing wrong with putting a head mount up, but again, it is preference.
Mm-hmm.
I've read some of their reasoning behind it. I don't really get it. They are an outdoor store. I think there's a little bit more politics in behind there somewhere, and I don't really want to get into that part of it. in my personal, I guess, feeling of the whole thing is, I think it's a big mistake. I think it sends the wrong message, and to some respect, I think it's going to turn outdoorsmen off.
Yeah.
And make them wonder just where Gander Mountain does stand. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good, tasteful mount.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's a squirrel.
Even if it's a squirrel, there's probably some story behind it. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't typically hunt animals that I'm not going to eat.
True.
I've eaten a lot of bear. Growing up in Ontario and stuff, we used to jar them. I've had roasts from bear and so on, caribou, whitetail, mule deer, moose, elk. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's lean meat,
Yep.
and wild meat is the best meat for you. It's better than beef, in my opinion.
There you go. Folks, that's all the time we have for Chris today. You can catch him in, I guess, your Hunting Chronicles show is wrapped up, and you can see a couple shows online on your YouTube. So, Chris, give out a couple of your links and give a couple shout-outs to your Canadian sponsors, and we'll send you on your way.
Well, okay. First off, if the new show starts in July, No Limits TV will be broadcasting on Wild TV here in Canada and on Hunt Channel in the United States. We'll be uploading some teaser clips coming up on our YouTube page, which is currently under development right now, along with our Facebook page. All that will be released at the end of June. And I just want to give a shout out to some of our great sponsors, Vortex Optics. In our opinion, they are the world leader in optics. Of course, Wacom Broadheads, APA Innovations, Fish Bum, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners are familiar with, Bush Bum as well, Kubota, Fort Canada, and hopefully of course, can't leave out Muck Boots. So thanks a lot, Ben, for the opportunity, and all the best of luck in the new year, buddy. Loving what you're doing.
Thank you, Chris. It's always a pleasure to have you on the line.
Right on. Thank you.
Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio is brought to you by AnglersChoice.ca, the Angler's Choice in handmade soft plastics. Also presented to you by Handlebars Musky Lures, Zing the Bling, Frantic Big Game Baits, Keith's Trophy Fishing, Fish NV Guide Service, and Husky Musky Leaders. You're listening to Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio.